months apart. Opus 4.8 in May, Opus 5 in July. Same price per token, both of them, $5 in, 25 out. And on one coding benchmark, Opus 5 more than doubles 4.8 score. 9 concepts on what actually changed, why cost per token is the wrong number to compare, and how to decide whether to migrate. Start with the trap, because almost everyone falls into it. When a vendor ships 4.7, then 4.8, then 5, your instinct reads that as 3 roughly equal steps, small, small, then a slightly bigger one. That instinct is wrong in both directions here. Anthropic described Opus 4.8 in their own launch post as a modest but tangible improvement on 4.7. Their words, not a critic's. It was a point release, better judgment, better honesty, a few new features. Real, but incremental. Then Opus 5 arrived 8 weeks later, and on Frontier Bench, a software engineering evaluation, it does not improve on 4.8 by some percentage. It more than doubles it, at a lower cost per task. On Arcagay 3, a test built specifically around novel problems the model has not seen, it scores 3 times the next best model. That is not a point release wearing a bigger number. So the first thing to unlearn is the idea that version numbers are a linear scale. They are marketing decisions that sometimes track engineering reality and sometimes do not. And here is the part that makes this genuinely interesting rather than just another release notes summary. Across all 3 of those models, 4.7, 4.8, and 5, the price per token never moved. $5 per million in, 25 out. So the usual mental model, better model, bigger bill, simply does not apply. Something else is going on, and the next 8 concepts are about what? First, the point release, and the one thing in it that mattered most. Opus 4.8's headline improvement was not a benchmark. It was honesty, and it is worth understanding why a lab would lead with that. There is a failure mode that every language model shares and that gets much worse the more capable they become, jumping to conclusions. The model does some work, the evidence is thin, and it reports success anyway, confidently. For a chat answer that is annoying. For an agent running unattended for an hour, it is corrosive, because every downstream step now builds on a claim nobody checked. Anthropic's evaluations put a number on the fix. Opus 4.8 was around 4 times less likely than its predecessor to let flaws in code it had written pass unremarked. Read that carefully, because it is a specific and unusual claim. Not, writes better code. Writes code, then notices when its own code is wrong. Those are different skills, and the second one is what determines whether you can leave something running. Alongside that, 4.8 shipped 3 things worth knowing. Effort control arrived in the product, a dial, next to the model selector, for how hard the model should think. Dynamic workflows in Claude Code, where the model plans work, runs many parallel subagents, verifies the outputs, and reports back. And a quieter API change, system messages could now be inserted mid-conversation without breaking the prompt cache, so an agent's instructions could be updated while it runs. Hold on to the effort dial in particular. It becomes the center of this whole comparison. Concept 2. The number that stayed identical, 3 releases running. Opus 4.7, 4.8, and 5 all cost the same, $5 per million input tokens, $25 per million output tokens. Fast mode, around 2.5 times the speed, runs at twice the base price on both 4.8 and 5. Sit with how strange that is against the intuition most people carry. The default assumption in this field is a straight line, more capable model, more compute, higher price. That was broadly true for years, and it is why teams reflexively budget and upgrade as a cost increase and sometimes decline one on that basis. Here the sticker price is flat across a generational jump, which forces a question that turns out to be the most useful thing in this episode. If the price per token is identical, what exactly are you comparing when you compare these models? Not the rate card, that is a tie. You are comparing how many tokens each model spends to finish your task, and how often it finishes at all. Those are properties of the model's behavior, not its pricing, and they can differ by multiples. This is where almost all real-world cost difference lies, and it is invisible if you only ever look at the price page. Concept 4 takes that apart properly. But notice already that a flat price is not the same as a flat bill, and that it can move in either direction. Concept 3. Thinking time became a parameter you control. Effort control is the single most important mechanic to understand in this comparison, because it changes what a benchmark number even means. The idea, instead of one fixed behavior, the model exposes a setting for how much reasoning to spend before answering. Low effort responds fast and cheap. High effort thinks more, and more deeply. Open the model picker in the product and you can see it sitting there as a first-class control right beside the model name, defaulting to high, with extra and max available above it. That placement is the tell. The vendor is treating how hard the model thinks as a choice of the same weight as which model you picked. Recall the reasoning model trade from the train episode, spending inference time compute to buy accuracy. This is that trade, promoted from a model choice to a per request parameter. And it has an immediate consequence for how you read any comparison, including this one. A single benchmark score for a model with an effort dial is incomplete, because the score depends on where the dial was set. Anthropic publishes Opus 5's results as curves across effort settings rather than single points, which is the honest way to do it. So when you see one number quoted, your first question should be, at what effort? A max effort score compared against another model's default is not a comparison, it is a category error. Practically, this gives you something valuable, a quality versus cost slider you can set per request rather than per deployment. Cheap effort for the easy majority of your traffic, high effort for the genuinely hard minority, which is the same routing by difficulty idea that shows up in adaptive retrieval and in choosing model sizes. Same principle, third context. Concept 4. The metric that actually decides your bill. Here is the concept that pays for this whole episode, and it generalizes far past these two models. Cost per token is what the vendor prints. Cost per task is what you actually pay. They are related by a number nobody advertises, how many tokens the model burns to get your work done, including the reasoning it does, the tool calls it makes, the wrong turns it takes, and crucially, the retries when it fails and you run it again. Two models at identical token prices can differ several-fold on cost per task. Watch how that plays out here. On Frontier Bench, Opus 5 more than doubles Opus 4.8's performance and does it at a lower cost per task. Both directions at once, that combination is impossible if you are only thinking in tokens per dollar. On Cursor Bench at max effort, Opus 5 lands within 0.5% of Fable 5's peak score at half the cost per task. And customers reported the same shape. One legal team measured similar performance with 26% fewer tokens than Opus 4.8 at max reasoning. A trading firm measured roughly a seventh of the reasoning tokens and under half the latency. So the practical instruction is, stop benchmarking models on price per million tokens. Take a representative sample of your real tasks, run them end-to-end on each candidate, and measure total spend and completion rate. That is a slightly annoying afternoon of work, and it is the only comparison that predicts your invoice. Concept 5. The inversion and why it happens. The reported pattern across Opus 5 deployments is consistently counterintuitive: better results, fewer tokens. A seventh of the reasoning tokens on one trading benchmark. 26% fewer at max reasoning on legal work, with accuracy held or improved. One financial modeling team measured 9 percentage points more accuracy with a third fewer turns and tool calls, and 60% less wall clock time. Why would a smarter model think less? Because a large fraction of a weaker model's token spend is not productive reasoning, it is flailing. Exploring a wrong branch and backing out. Rereading the same file because it did not extract what it needed the first time. Calling a tool, misreading the result, calling it again. Restating the problem to itself. None of that shows up as an error. It shows up as tokens. A model with better judgment takes fewer wrong turns, so it spends less to arrive somewhere better. And this reframes something worth carrying beyond these two models. Efficiency is not a separate axis from capability, trading off against it. At a certain point, efficiency is capability, expressed in tokens. The corollary is a useful diagnostic for any agent you operate. If your agent burns enormous token counts on tasks that should be simple, the instinct is to blame the prompt or the context window. Often the honest reading is that the model is not confident enough to commit, and verbosity is what uncertainty looks like from the outside. Concept 6. The behavior change that matters most for agents. 4.8 got noticeably better at not making unsupported claims. Opus 5 extends that from honesty into something more active, constructing its own means of verification. 3 documented examples make the shape concrete. In one benchmark task, the model was given a drawing of a machine part and asked to write code rebuilding it as a 3D model, but deliberately given no way to view the drawing. Rather than guessing or refusing, it wrote its own computer vision pipeline to pull the geometry out of the raw pixels, then reconstructed the part. No competing model in that setup solved it in 5 attempts. In another, an engineer had it build a market data feed for an exchange with no live feed available to test against. It built its own test harness to confirm its parser handled the exchange's format. And a front-end evaluation reported the model opening its own pages in a browser at desktop and phone widths, finding a product hidden below the mobile fold and an off-screen checkout button, and fixing both before handing back the work. Notice the common structure. In each case, the model identified that it had no way to check its work, and then built one. That is the difference between a model that does the task and a model you can leave alone with it. For anyone running long agent loops, this matters more than any benchmark on the page. What fails in unattended work is rarely the doing. It is the absence of anyone checking. Concept 7. What doubles the score does and doesn't tell you. Opus 5's published numbers are strong, doubling Frontier Bench, 3 times the next model on Arcgis 3. Around 1.5 times the pass rate on a business automation benchmark at the same cost per task, better on every life sciences evaluation with organic chemistry up 10.2 percentage points and protein tasks up 7.7. Keep the skeptical apparatus from the train episode switched on anyway, because it applies to every vendor without exception. These are the vendor's own selected evaluations. No lab publishes the benchmarks where it loses, and Anthropic states plainly that Opus 5 remains behind their Mythos 5 model on cybersecurity. Benchmarks are also shaped nothing like your work. They are self-contained tasks with verifiable answers, and your workload is a long, messy prompt in your domain with your edge cases. And a doubling on a benchmark near saturation means something quite different from a doubling in its difficult middle. That said, do not overcorrect into dismissing all of it. 2 things here carry real signal. First, effort curves rather than single points, publishing the whole cost-quality frontier is much harder to cherry-pick than one number. Second, and more useful, the independent customer reports point the same direction as the internal ones, and they name specific measured quantities, 8%, 22%, 26% fewer tokens. Convergence between a vendor's numbers and its customers' numbers is weak evidence individually and reasonable evidence together. Trust the direction. Verify the magnitude on your own tasks. Concept 8. What the model can do, and what it's allowed to. This part gets skimmed and it directly affects production behavior. Opus 5 was assessed as Anthropic's most aligned model to date, lowest measured rates of deceptive behavior, and the least susceptible of their recent models to being tricked into misuse. Interesting, but here is the operationally important detail. On cybersecurity, they report that Opus 5 is close to their Mythos 5 model at finding software vulnerabilities, yet substantially behind it at exploiting them, turning a found vulnerability into a working attack. Those two abilities came apart and were measured separately, which is a meaningful thing to be able to say. Layered on top, separately from the model itself, are classifiers. Opus 5 is permitted to find vulnerabilities in source code, while binary-based scanning, penetration testing and exploit generation are blocked. And the piece with real engineering consequences, when a request trips those classifiers, it can fall back to Opus 4.8 rather than simply failing. There is now a documented automatic fallback mechanism on the API for exactly this. So a production system can silently answer from a different model than the one you selected. If you are logging which model produced which output, and you should be, that is not a hypothetical. The general lesson, capability and permission are now two independent systems, and the model you configured is not always the model that answered. Design your logging on that assumption. Concept 9. Turning all of it into a decision. Let's make this actionable, and let's start with the honest headline, same price, better on essentially every published evaluation, and reported by multiple independent customers to use fewer tokens. That is an unusually one-sided case, and pretending otherwise would be false balance. But migrate is still not automatic, so here is the order to work in. First, take the price comparison off the table. The rate cards are identical, so cost is decided entirely by token consumption on your tasks. Second, measure exactly that, run a representative sample end-to-end on both, and record total tokens, completion rate, and wall clock time. If the reports hold for your workload, the newer model is cheaper in practice despite costing the same on paper. Third, retune effort rather than porting your old setting across. A model that needs less thinking to reach the same answer may do your job at a lower effort level than its predecessor required, and that is where the savings actually land. Fourth, check your fallback and logging behavior. Because of Concept 8, know which model actually served each response. And fifth, the one people skip, re-examine tasks you previously abandoned as impossible. Several of the strongest reports here are about work that simply did not complete before, which no incremental benchmark reading would have predicted. The broader lesson outlives both these models. When a new version lands, the useful question is never, is it better? It is, what does it now do that changes what I would build? Same price per token across both. Opus 4.8 brought honesty and the effort dial. Opus 5 doubled a major coding benchmark and, by several customer accounts, does it on fewer tokens. So the comparison that matters is cost per task, which you can only get by running your own work through both. Retune effort rather than porting it, log which model actually answered, and revisit what you gave up on. Next on the channel, the train episode covers the open weight side of this decision.